What's up guys, Justin here with the CGEssentials.com. So in today's video we're going to check out an add-on that's built into Blender that really ups your mesh editing capabilities inside of the program. Let's go ahead and just jump into it. Okay, so LoopTools is a free add-on that's built into Blender. You can enable it by going up to Edit, Preferences, and you want to look for LoopTools. So it's under Mesh LoopTools, one word. And what you want to do is you want to check this box right here in order to enable this so that you can use it inside of Blender. Now, this tool is only going to show up inside of edit mode. Okay, so let's say, for example, that we were to throw a circle in here. So just a simple shape, no big deal. Notice how nothing is showing up on your tabs over here. So you can tap the N letter on your keyboard in order to get this to pop up. But notice how that edit tab only shows up when you tab into edit mode. So once you tab into edit mode like this, then you can go under edit and there's a drop down for LoopTools. And notice how within this drop down, this is where we get the different options contained inside of LoopTools. So again, it's only going to work inside of edit mode. Okay, and so if you do want to check out the documentation for this tool, there is documentation built into the Blender documentation. However, my recommendation would actually be to scroll down to the bottom of the page. Notice how there's an option in here for the script homepage. If you do that, there's an actual page in here that has some more information. And specifically what you can do is you can scroll down and you can see information along with the visuals that are actually going to show you what the different tools do down below. So if you have questions about any of these, I would recommend going to this page because it's going to have a little bit more information. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's delete out this circle right here. We're just going to do a Shift A and we're going to add a plane at the moment. And I'm just going to tab into edit mode. I'm going to right click and I'm going to go ahead and subdivide this. We'll go ahead and subdivide this. So we've got a few different cuts in here. So the first tool that's contained in here that I want to talk about is the bridge tool. And so what that's going to do is that's going to give us the ability to actually bridge gaps. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use proportional editing and I'm just going to do something like this. I'm going to scale this to 0. I'm going to turn this off. So something like this. So let's say that we had an object like this and we lost some of our vertices in the middle, right? So what I've done, right, is I've created this this mesh right here and I want to add some additional mesh inside of this. What I can do is I can select all of these, right, between these two edges. And then if I click on the option for bridge, what that's going to do is that's going to come in here and that's actually going to bridge those loops like this. So notice what that's doing is that's coming in here and that's automatically figuring out where geometry should go. And then you can come in here and you can adjust some things about this. Like for example, if I adjust the strength, notice what that's going to do is that's going to adjust the math that it's using in order to bridge across these. So when I bring that strength up, notice how it's maintaining more of this upward direction. If I bring it down, it's going to bridge them in the opposite direction. If I was to put this on 0, this would bridge this, but it would keep it completely flat like this. Now, not only can you use bridge in order to create this geometry like this, you could also do it and add a twist. And so let's say that I was to come in here and select these two circles like this and run bridge. Notice how I have an option here to add a twist. And so what that twist is doing is that's basically adjusting the reference point that this is using in order to bridge across these, right? So instead of these bridging straight across, like this, the more twist I add, the more diagonally, or the more it's going to adjust where those points are drawing faces to the other points, like this. So if you do want to add some twist, there's definitely an option here to do that. The reverse function is a little bit hard to describe, but basically what it's going to do is it's going to reverse the way that this tries to make the vertices match up, the lines between the vertices. So that's something that you should try. If you ever get a result like this one where things just aren't lined up properly, try checking that reverse box and seeing if that fixes the way that everything, the direction that everything is going. Okay, so the next tool is interesting because what it'll do is it actually changes the geometry of your object in a certain way. So let's say, for example, that we wanted to take this and we didn't want the center of this object to be square anymore. We wanted to create more of like a circular face on here. Well, with circle, what that's going to do is that's going to do exactly what it sounds like. It's going to come in here and it's going to deform the geometry around this so that it's more circular. And so this can be useful for a lot of things. Like for example, say that you wanted to cut a hole in this object. I could actually come in here and delete this vertex out. And now we actually have a hole that's in this object. So not only can you do that with a singular vertex, but you could also come in here and let's say we wanted to select a path like this. So I'm just going to come in here and select these. You can select that loop space and then click on circle, and notice how it's going to take that geometry in there and make the whole thing circular. So then say you wanted to, I'm going to tap the 3 key to go into face select mode, but now you could extrude this up so you can use this to create shapes like this that are circular coming off of a flat surface like this one. So note that there are a few different options in here for things that you can do with that function. So say for example that I selected this vertex right here and clicked on circle, you have options in here. We'll look at flatten in a minute, but you can adjust the radius. So that's going to be the size of the circle that's created. So you can make this bigger or smaller. You can also make it turn if you want to do that by adjusting the angle right here. And then you can also adjust the influence to set like how far this is deforming those into that circular shape. So the flatten is going to be something that you can use on a shape like this one, and say that we created a circle right here. If you have flatten selected, it's going to take all of those and put them on the same plane. If you don't check flatten, then notice how it's going to keep these kind of bent along the surface. So if you do want to create a flat surface like this is an easy way to do that. So what this next one does is it will figure out a curve along points. So let's say, for example, that I had a shape like this one, and I had a vertex that was out like this, so out in space, and then I had another vertex over here, and I wanted to move all of these so that they're in a straight or a curved line between these points, right? So I could use this to make this uniform. Well, if I was to come in here and do a shift and select this and then activate the curve function, notice what that's going to do is that's going to create a straight curve along this edge right here. Now, that's not necessarily what we would want, because we might want this to come in here and actually like curve along. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this over like this. But if I select an intermediate point like this one, it's going to try to create a curve that more follows along the points we have selected. So if I select a curve right here, notice how that's going to come in here and that's going to try to curve along this surface. And so the influence is going to set how much this influences those vertices right here. Notice how you get a different kind of curve in here if you uncheck the regular box. So the curve just looks a little bit different, right? If you click on regular, it's going to take all of these, and notice how these are all kind of getting moved outward along the green axis. If you uncheck it, then this is letting these deform along the red axis as well. Now, there's different times that you could do this. So let's say, for example, that we were to tab into edit mode on this cylinder. And let's just say, and this is kind of an odd example, but I think it's going to work for what we're doing here. Let's say we were to move this out. And then let's say we were to move this out like this. So what you could do is you could select these vertices like this, doing a shift click, and then click on the curve option. What that's doing is that's coming in here and that's kind of interpolating a curve using these options. Now notice how if you adjust the influence, it's going to adjust the overall effect. And you can also click on boundaries, and what boundaries will do is that'll limit the effect to just the vertices that you have selected. So if you do need to create a curve between some vertices, this could be a good tool for that. Okay, so flatten is going to do exactly what it sounds like. It's going to allow you to select a number of different vertices like this. So let's say that I was to come in here and select these vertices right here, and then I was to activate the flatten tool. What that's going to do is that's going to flatten those. Now in this case, notice what it did is it flattened it so that we have a plane between all of our selected points like this. Now you can come in here and adjust the influence in order to adjust how harshly this is doing this, but you can set it in order to create that kind of flatten. And so best fit is going to select the best fit for where the vertices are right now. If you select the normal, what that's going to do is that's going to average the vertex normals in here, which notice how in this situation gives me more of a flat plane like this. And so let's say you were to select the option for view. What that's going to do is that's going to flatten those based on your view or based on your current camera location. So if we were to run that, what we might want to do is we might want to toggle this to a straight up and down view, and then toggle back into view, well, notice what that does is that adjusts those relative to your camera location. So that could be an easy way to do that top down, just from looking at everything from over top. Okay, so this next one is a little bit odd, especially if you're using a newer version of Blender. So I'm using like 3.4 right now. I think after 2.81 this might have changed. So what you need to do first before you try to use this is you need to go into your G-Stretch tool. You need to make sure that you select the option for annotation or G-Pencil. I don't think it really matters which one you select. So what you can't do is leave it on none or else nothing's gonna work. So I'm gonna leave it on annotation right now, but say that I was to come in here and I was to draw an annotation, right? So something like this. So I drew it flat like this. Well, now what we can do is we can select our loop. So I'm gonna select the loop right here, and we can run G-Stretch. And so what that's gonna do is that's gonna take this and it's gonna try to match it up to this stroke right here. And so notice how if you come in here and you adjust the influence, you can set how much this tries to follow along this right here. So you've got some adjustment in here. You've got some other functions in here for things like limiting vertices or doing exact vertices. Honestly, I haven't played around with those too much. I'm trying to decide if I would ever actually use this. I guess it's good for like quickly adding some geometry in here, but to me it's not especially precise, so it's an interesting tool, but maybe not something that I would always use. So Loft is basically going to act the same as the bridge tool. So I personally have not been able to get this to act differently between bridge and Loft. One thing that is a little bit better on Loft is setting the segments to automatic. Might be better for the Loft tool because it might add more segments. Now, one thing I did want to show you really quick is when you do run this tool, I'm gonna go ahead and undo all of this. So I basically just created what's in the example file. But when you run this tool and you run Loft, first off, you might have to add a twist in here. So for me, right, none of my segments were lining up, but if I added a one twist in here and I reversed it, everything worked fine. So that's an example of when you might use that reverse function. But notice how that cubic function is really kind of following along more precisely. But if you were to click the drop down and click on linear, notice how I'm getting a smoother result. So sometimes those results like linear are going to give you, or those settings like linear are going to give you better results. Notice how I can add numbers of segments in here using the segment count. Relax is an interesting one because what it does is it tries to take a number of vertices and make them into more of a smooth curve. So for example, if I've got a curve like this one, I run relax, notice what it does is it kind of like averages this out. And when it does that, it kind of smooths out your curve. Now you can set the number of iterations in here. So that's the number of times that it's going to run. Notice how the more I run this, it is smoothing this out, but eventually it smooths it so far that it's just a line, right? So depending on what you're trying to do, you can use this in order to relax sets of vertices. So you can also do that with something like this shape right here. So for example, I've got this loop right here that's got this kind of like larger up. Well, if I run relax in here, notice how first off there's an option here for selection, right? And if I put this on selection, what that's going to do is that's going to try to relax this off across just what I have selected. And I could set my iterations in this case to probably something low, but notice how it's coming in here and just trying to smooth that out. Now, if you were to select the other option, which is parallel all, that's going to come through here and it's going to try to relax everything. So notice how it's making changes to all of the vertices in here. And again, if I was to run this whole thing, right, it just turns into like this flat surface. So you can use this to try to relax or smooth different curves or groups of vertices in your models. This last one's interesting because it's going to come in here and try to evenly space out vertices. So notice how, for example, I've got this mesh in here and things are kind of like, they're just not really spaced out very well. And so what I could do is I could come in here and I could select some of these, and if I run the space option, notice what that's going to do is that's going to give me the ability to space things out in a way that's more even. And so you can kind of see that if you adjust the influence right here. Notice how it's evenly spacing everything. Now, if I was to select the option for selection, it's just going to space these vertices right here. And you can kind of see what that's doing by playing around with the influence. Now, one of the cool things about that is you can lock the direction that's in here. So for example, I could leave the Y as is by locking it and then only do the X, right? Notice how if I click on these, it allows me to lock directions so that those aren't affected, just the other directions are. Now I can also do more of like a linear interpolation if I want to do that. So the linear and cubic, the cubic is going to try to maintain the positions a little bit better, but you can kind of adjust those either way. And so you could do the same thing with curves like this one. So for example, notice how some of these are closer together, some are further apart. If I was to run space, notice what that's going to do is that's going to move those so these are a little more equally spaced in here, right? And you could either do a linear or a cubic interpolation of that as well. So there's a lot of great mesh editing tools in this free add-on. I recommend you go check it out today. Leave a comment below, let me know what you thought. As always, thank you so much for taking the time to watch this, and I'll catch you in the next video. Thanks, guys.